highlights and some video from the first ever Protection United Expo out of beautiful Ruston, Louisiana. Welcome on in, folks, to episode 3 of the Protect You podcast. Jake Wilson and Jay Mickens. We are happy to be back live in now what is dubbed Studio Triple J. Jay, Jake, and Computer Jesus as well getting involved. And you may notice a little changes, some more decoration here on the table, trying to expand the repertoire of exactly what Protection United is all about, as well as maybe some images behind us, but that's just a tease. Be sure to tune in next week where we'll have a complete and total uphaul of what Studio Triple J is all about, what we've been building here, Jay. It's really awesome to see it all start to come together.
Yeah, no, definitely, Jake. I'm loving everything that we're doing here. It's so fun. I mean, you guys, I got to witness the setup crew, right? Yeah. The setup crew here for past couple of hours, right? Grinding. They're all working hard. So appreciative of our COO Ashley Cherry and her bringing in her guys to come in and help to build this studio, and I cannot wait to show it off next week. I'm so excited.
It has been surreal to see all the pieces come together, where I've always been a matter of having the equipment. It's already been there. Everything's already set up, everything's provided for us, but to see it all come together behind the scenes is really surreal, and it's been really fun to be a part of.
No, definitely. And I think that, at least for me, I'm always big on custom building, right? Yes. It's something about seeing an empty room, right? Or rather taking, because a lot of people don't know this, but, I forfeited my man cave, right? I forfeited my man cave. Maybe
a very worthy sacrifice.
Thank you, Jake. Thank you. And, by me gutting that out, Jalen obviously benefiting from it. I was taking the furniture up to Ruston this past weekend to allow him, right, to have that. I was sad about my big oversized chair. Like, I missed my chair. That was the one piece that I was hoping it was going to stay. But yeah, no, it's in his townhome now. He's going to get to enjoy it. But we got to gut this out. I love, like I said, I cannot wait to show this off. I'm such a perfectionist, and I don't want to show anything quite yet. I know these two young men behind us, though, we had to show this is because they're up. They're right here on the camera, and I think we have to kind of address them. But, can't wait to show off what's on this wall, these walls, what's going to be above. It's going to be a beautiful thing. And then we get to have more guests coming because I'll feel better about it, and letting them see it. And we get photos and pictures and all those things with them. So,
say showing a little bit of the development. And I'm sure Jalen, too, appreciates some more free furniture. Oh, as always.
I know. Hey, you should have saw his face when he saw my chair in his townhome. He had that Grinch grin on his face, knowing that I got it now. It's mine, and you're not getting it back. But hey, it's my kid, so it's all good.
And college kids can always appreciate a little bit more help. Can always appreciate a little bit of leeway behind the scenes. Yeah. So I'm sure he was very grateful for it. But it does somewhat transition us nicely into the things that we've been talking about of trying to address the ever-growing NIL world, what that's like, and trying to ease the stresses of the people at home, whether that's the parents or especially the athletes themselves, as to what Protection United knows and what Protection United can do with the rapid changes that have been going on in the NIL world. Fortunately, around, I believe it was July 1st, is when the legislation came down between the House and the NCAA. Mm-hmm. And it was good to see the proactivity on the behalf of the NCAA and the College Sports Commission coming together to make sure that we're no longer in, I love the way that you phrase it, this wild, wild west stage of NIL, where we have structure, and now there is a backbone for which businesses and athletes can work hand in hand with each other. But you obviously know a little bit more about this, and through the portal that has been established, known as NIL Go.
Yeah, and, it's not a popular decision, right? I'm just going to kind of throw that out there. This is not something that the athletes nor their parents like, because there is a feel that the government is sticking their hands once again in someone else's cookie jar, right? And not so much of the government as in the new CSC that you just alluded to. But when you have a organization, right, that is now trying to stop boosters for paying someone $500,000 to come over to their house to cut their grass. Right. I mean, those things, right, were kind of happening out there. And so in turn, the small few kind of messed it up for the whole thing. However, we're here now. It is what it is. This is the new wave of what's happening with the outside endorsements. NIL Go is partnered up with Deloitte, right? Deloitte is going to be the financial managers of this. And yeah, now every outside endorsement deal, every athlete now has to upload any contract that they receive, right? Anything that's valued at $600 or more, right? And keyword on value there too, Jake, because everything's not transactional, right? If you get a free custom suit, if you get free shoes, those have value, right?
Yes.
So anything that's $600 or more worth in value, that deal has to be uploaded, and the commission as well as Deloitte has to approve that deal. Where things have changed now versus the way it used to be, there was no regulations. Now there are. There is something about fair market value, right? So if Arch Manning, right, gets a deal, his deal can be more lucrative than a punter, right? That's a true freshman walk-on.
For sure.
Right? Because
it's what he's worth.
Exactly. It's what he's worth. So you have that as well as everything else that comes with that. Also, too, the other stipulation is it has to be a legitimate company that is now working directly within a normal day-to-day business organization that is using advertising and marketing dollars. Instead of putting it on Google, they are now wanting to put it into the kids because they were finding boosters once again.
Yeah, trying to seep their way into
exactly it. Right. And on the other side of that coin, you are looking at a competitive balance, right?
Yes.
The CSC, they're just trying to keep it to where the group of 5 schools, right, even the smaller P4 schools that don't have the alumni base, right, that can put and pour money into these, boosters, that they still have a competitive, advantage as well. And that you don't just see 4 or 5 or maybe 10 schools just dominating in recruiting year in and year out. So there's pros and cons to it. I have, like I said, a good bunch of friends of mine that don't like it. And I understand why they don't, because now certain deals are now getting to be seen, and it used to be more in a private setting. Now it's kind of out in the public eye.
You have to air all that out now.
Exactly.
But at the same time, and what the article that we're basing a lot of this off of on CBS Sports says, though, and that I appreciate, is that now eligibility is such a huge thing, right? Of if you break those sanctions with the NCAA, they will drop the hammer on you. Mm-hmm. What this portal does now, though, is it vets those opportunities. It vets those third parties that are coming in and saying, hey, do this as a transactional, exchange. And now there is something in between. There is a middleman that steps in and says, no, this will affect eligibility. So that way, now it doesn't make the athlete pay the consequences. I can appreciate that element of it, of almost that next level, that bodyguard, if you will, that makes sure that these offers are exactly what they're made out to be.
Yeah, no, correct, Jake. And, having something set up, in my opinion, to where there are guidelines, it does provide more clarity, at least on the agency side, right? Mm-hmm. Because now we're looking at a situation of we as agents, right, or as representation of these athletes, we're able to also be a part of the platform. They have added us to where we can not only upload deals for them, but we can also watch the status, right? Because there's 3 factors that come into this. You're either going to be cleared, not cleared, or pending review. They need additional information. But it does hold our feet, right, to the fire, and hold us to be held accountable too on our side to make sure that deals are legit, that, once again, these agencies, right, or representations, attorneys, et cetera, that are negotiating these deals, that these deals are legitimate deals, that they are being ran the right way, that they are able to help, make sure that both parties are also being protected, right, as well. And I do like that part. We've heard the stories of athletes that have been compensated, but then they didn't do, their part of it, didn't ensure that all of the things that were supposed to be done, from the deliverables on social media to the meet and greet, showing up for appearances. But there also have been deals to where these athletes have done what they were supposed to do, and then they weren't compensated, right? So that's the other underlining part that I do personally like about it, is that now everybody is being held accountable. There's no shady deals that can be done under the table to where, anyone, right, can get screwed in the process.
And it does help too that they've outlined a lot of the criteria of how these businesses and how these transactions will be based. Things like, as per quote here, payer association, valid business purpose, and range of compensation. You have to meet those qualifying things. And sure, those are more so the umbrella terms through which these transactions and these businesses will be judged, but you have to meet a certain criteria in order to give compensation through NIL. You can't just go up to a kid and then say, hey, here's $1,000, wear my shoes. Right. You have to have some sort of an association, some sort of pre-existing basis for why that transaction would take purpose. And that, I feel like, is the biggest thing that I can get behind. Of these have to be valid businesses. There has to be a reason as to why. You can't just have some random used car salesman coming down and saying, well, I'm going to give you $5,000 to drive one of my cars, right. Which that's shady. And then that plays preferential treatment to location, plays preferential treatment to bigger names, and in many cases, bigger schools.
Right. Exactly, Jake. And now having this set up, right, having still the opportunity, right? And these athletes still being able to be compensated for their name, image, and likeness. It's just now being more regulated. And I also want to add too that with Deloitte, they went back and ran all of the deals that have happened within the past couple of years. And 80% of those deals would have been cleared as okay. 10% would have kind of needed more information. And then obviously the remaining 10% would have been, denied, right? So it's not like Big Brother's coming in and now taking all kind of things away, right? And, unfortunately in today's society and the way things get promoted in media, right, those kind of details get buried, right? But obviously here at Protection United, our job is to read the fine print and make sure that, we dot all I's and cross all T's. So.
And it's reassuring to hear that coming from you, one of the founders of Protection United, of this has been a pillar of the company since the very beginning, because even speaking from my perspective, the Protection United is a relatively fresh face in the industry, even though NIL is an incredibly new topic in the grand scheme of how long college football has existed.
Right.
Protection United is a relatively fresh face in trying to get into this industry, but the strides that we've already taken are immaculate in terms of the people that we represent, the brands that we've been able to connect with, and now, as you're able to see here, the things that we've been able to build. Yeah. So can you talk just a little bit too about the growth that you've seen at Protection United with pertains to bringing on some new clients like we had earlier this week?
Yeah. As we kind of opened the show up a little bit in regards to the expo, we have athletes that we talk with here in the great state of Texas on the high school level, but we are really big about protecting eligibility here, and so in turn, right, we just want to stay within the lines we feel, and everything that we've seen research wise, we can promote our Texas athletes that we're helping in regards to helping them get recruited, right, helping negotiate their NIL rev share with the colleges that they have committed to. But my partner Derek Lagway said, hey, look, we don't want to take any risk. No. And I'm with my brother on that, right? We don't want to until we get something. We have calls into UIL. We have calls in to ensure that someone has read Governor Abbott's, even deal that he passed, right, about receiving NIL and all the things. However, there's a bordering state called Louisiana.
Yep.
They allow NIL in high school.
That they do.
And we have opportunities to where we can promote these young men immediately. From that expo, we have had a lot of, garnering interest, a lot of phone calls. Just as you and I were talking, offline, we were prepping for today's show. I mean, emails just coming in. We got calls this evening with some athletes, and cannot wait to, return those calls and talk to those parents and hopefully close more deals. But I'll pass it back to you now, Jay, because I think we have a couple of young men that we like to promote.
That we do.
Starting now.
That we do. Two guys that we were very well connected with during that first expo, especially this first one, was very hands-on, and his mom especially. That is none other than Alex Fontenot, wide receiver out of Louisiana, Alexandria High School. His measurables, I think he sold himself just a little bit short in terms of himself. 6'2". I would probably put that up to maybe a 6'4", I would argue.
Yeah.
He was a tall dude. 180 pounds, wide receiver out of the class of 2027. And he's already got a handful of some pretty enticing offers on the table. Looking at schools like Louisiana Lafayette, the Raging Cajuns, and now he's got the University of Nevada, Las Vegas, and the Rebels knocking on his door, trying to secure his services for the Division I ranks, which is a really promising thing to see. But he took his time, and his mother especially, thank you, Mrs. Fontenot, for stepping up and making the connection and putting Protection United first and foremost, because now he's a member of the Protect You crew.
No, he definitely is. And if we can get Computer Jesus, I would love to pull up the actual post. I think we got that over to him, because I would love for the official announcement opposed to what we're going to show on social media later on today. But, definitely excited about Alex. He's a young man that, definitely gravitated to, in the room. It's always something when you have a person that sits in the front.
Yes.
Right. It's always something about a person that, because whether it's in the classroom, whether it's in a meeting, right, they're letting right out of the gate that they're serious, right? And what I loved about, meeting him as well as mom, and then of course had a great conversation with his dad on this past Friday to kind of, close this deal. But, you're looking at a receiver, 6'2", 180 pounds, runs a 4.5 40, great route runner as well, huge hands, but soft hands. And I love looking at some of his clips. He had late hands, right? And so a lot of people don't know what that means. Late hands are when you're running down and you don't show your hands until the ball is right there, to almost fool a DB and not let them know that they're about to get mossed, right? So, but he's a 2027. This young man has 2 more years of high school ball, right, in that Monroe, Ruston area. And we're looking forward to promoting him and helping him not only secure that bag with his rev share, along with getting additional offers, but we also want to help him in regards to starting to build relationships with brand companies,
yes,
right? To where now we can start helping him also get outside endorsement deals as well. So,
yeah, and you can already see that he's been making some pretty big strides. State football championship game inside of the Saints Superdome. That's some big shoes to be filling, stepping up to that gridiron.
Yeah.
But Fontenot has definitely proven himself and what he's capable of. We're very much looking forward to working with him, and we're glad that we were able to pay off the relationship being built immediately,
yes,
because of the benefits of the great state of Louisiana. And one other guy too that we were very excited to bring on is he's a young buck in a very true sense of the word, in the form of Rush Wilson.
Okay.
Where Rush is a defensive end, looks older than he is, a class of 2029 out of Waspin High School. He's a 6-footer, 205 pounds, but don't let any of those measurables fool you. This kid is a beast. Coming out of 8th grade, which some people, they may take that with a little bit of grain of salt of, he's playing against 8th graders. How good could it really be? I would argue 20 sacks during a season is good for any level of competition. And he did that heading into his freshman year at high school. So we're looking at the potential here for a kid that is going to be starting on varsity as a freshman. Forget freshman level ball, forget JV, jumping straight to the first level that he could potentially be looking at. And that's incredible talent to be seeing, especially with how intense the level of competition is out of Louisiana. People talk about how good high school ball is in Texas, Florida, California, or Georgia. But I would argue this deep south-ish area where you talk about Texas, Louisiana, even a little bit of Alabama, Mississippi, is really where the high school ball is best at. And so to be putting up those types of numbers heading into a freshman year is astounding, Jay.
No, it definitely is. And, and it's so funny now as I'm getting these emails and these messages, Computer Jesus, check your inbox. You'll have a couple of presents in there, but definitely excited about Rush. First of all, what a cool name.
Yes.
Rush.
Rush Wilson.
Right, Rush Wilson. Now, he's an edge rusher, right, playing DN. Definitely like a kid that had over 20-plus sacks in 8th grade. Now, once again, guys, the ones that know me, y'all know I don't put a whole lot of stock in middle school football. However, right, when you have 20-plus sacks in a season and now you've garnered the interest of the high school coaches, this kid comes into spring ball, he starts dominating immediately to where they're like, yeah, we're not going to let you play freshman football. We're not going to let you play JV football. We're going to go ahead and put you on the big boy stage. We need you underneath those Friday night lights right now as a true freshman. And word has it that he took a position of a kid that was a rising senior.
Wow.
Right? And they had to move that kid to inside linebacker spot, right? Because Rush was dominating, right, on the edge. And just excited to be working, with this young man. I mean, there it is right there. We got Rush. We'll roll back and show Alex's. That's, by the way, Cinco does some pretty cool work. I love these. Computer Jesus, we apologize for not getting this to you earlier. That's on Jake and myself. However, it's here now. Good-looking kid. I mean, look at the eyes of determination, right? This is a picture of him listening to his coach talk, right? Once again, another young man that takes football seriously, wants to play at the next level, and, got to have a great conversation with his dad, Percy. And, of course, there's Alex's right there. Once again, man, just the love. Just clean, right? Just clean. But definitely excited to be representing both of these young men. And I'm so excited that we get to promote them right now.
Yes.
Jake, we don't have to wait. We don't have to wait until they get onto college campuses. We don't have to wait until mom and dad have set up their dorm room and they take the Facebook picture with, look at the comforter and I got my pillows and I just dropped my baby off. No, we get to do it now, right? And we get to also build relationships with these parents to where they're now a part of the process. Because here at Protection United, we are big about keeping all the parents involved in everything that we do, whether it's negotiation of the NIL collective or it is with also outside endorsement deals. We're a family here. And I love the fact that, these great parents that, have basically raised these young men are allowing us to be an extension and add to, their family and be a part of the process. And cannot wait to get additional, kids from Louisiana. We have some other expos that are going to be coming up to where we're going to be going to other states, right, as well. And, definitely excited to grow the crew, but definitely would love to welcome Alex as well as Rush to the Protect You crew. Look forward to having these young pups be a part of the process and come join this big family that we started.
And I think it's twofold, too, of how beneficial that first expo was, of being able to create that connection in a face-to-face way, where Zoom is great and being able to talk with families and the athletes themselves is great, but being able to reach out and shake a hand, being able to reach out and give a business card, I feel like that's much more meaningful. So it does fill me with a lot of joy to see the fruits of that. That first jump. That first leap of faith is really starting to pay off. But I think it speaks too of what Protection United is looking forward to, of branching out outside of the state of Texas and really starting to establish those connections in places like Louisiana, places like Florida, Alabama, the Carolinas too, of
Georgia.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Of making Protection United the full embodiment of what it was always planned to be.
Yeah, exactly, Jake. And, it's Derek and myself probably wake up every morning. At least I know myself. I wake up and I can't help but smile, right? Getting to help, right? Derek and I have always had a giving heart when it comes to helping. These young men play the game of football as well as, other sports. But, we really poured into, and this was from, when the boys were young, right? You're looking, 6, 7, 8 years old and now being able to help, as well, now that they're adults, right? Legally, adults and still being able to be a part of their journey, just from a different, level. And I mean, I'm having fun. I'm enjoying it. I'm getting to live the life I've always wanted to live, to be in the sports world in some capacity. Wasn't good enough to play professionally, obviously, but to be a part of this journey for all of these, and now in turn, we're getting to meet new families and build new relationships. It's definitely exciting.
Yeah, I'm very happy of how far this has already come. And even just my brief stint of being here with Protection United, of seeing the rocket ship really start to take off heading into this upcoming season, it does fill me with a lot of joy to have been a part of, Jay. I'm glad you brought me on. Yeah. And I'm glad that we've been able to build such a sturdy ship.
Yeah.
That we've been able to let her set sail, and let's see where we go from here.
I know. Derek always would get on me, but like, hey, Jay, you're going too fast. You're going too fast. I think now he's buckled up, and like when you're on a smooth road, sometimes you don't feel like you're going 150 miles an hour, right? And but yes, I love your analogy. It is like a rocket ship, and we are growing so fast, but it does feel like it's a control growth,
yes, for
right?
sure.
And that's kudos to our amazing team here. Like I said, it's not a one-man show. It's not just me. I mean, our entire team behind the scenes, people that you'll never see on the camera. We tried to get one person to come get on the camera today, and she was like, no, I'm not getting on. And yet we don't have this beautiful studio without her, right? And her vision and direction, with our internal team. But yeah, having a blast. We're growing. We got the cool helmet on here. Shout out to Madison Lamb, our executive assistant here. Keeps my schedule in line and just amazing. But she also does pretty cool artwork as well. So, I mean, it's one of those deals, Jake, where we're just a family here. Yeah. And I'm glad that you're here and getting to have fun.
And I'm glad that we're able to bring more people into the fold, too. We're so happy to bring in more people. There you go.
Look at Computer Jesus.
There you go.
Yeah, Computer Jesus is showing off.
Two of the newest additions to the Protect You crew.
Oh, there
Welcome aboard, Rush Wilson and Alex Fontenot. But that does transition us very nicely into our last segment here. We like to have a little bit of fun before we cap off the Protect You podcast. And this time we're introing the first ever edition of a little segment we call From the Stands, where we talk about the clips or pictures that fans, family members, husbands, wives, boyfriends, girlfriends, nieces, nephews have sent in of the great members of the Protect You crew. Because, Jay, I know you already know this, but 2025 season is right around the corner. Yeah, we got week 0 technically starts on Saturday this week, but the first week of college football action and college volleyball action will start next week. And so because of that, a lot of teams have been putting together scrimmages, have been putting together hands-on practices with their guys to try and get them repped and ready before we really put the pedal to the metal for this upcoming season. And we've been very gracious enough to have some great collaborators come in and bring some clips and bring some photos of the Protect You crew to air here on the Protect You podcast. That feels surreal.
No, it does. And what we're about to show too is fans is exactly what we're going to want during the season. We we're going to be reaching out to our athletes. We're going to be obviously leaning on them. Our internal team will be reaching out. Guys, please don't ignore them because it is important that we get things set up. But what we want to do is capture those moments, guys. We want parents, girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever the case may be. Well, Samara could have a boyfriend.
Oh, for sure.
Right. Samara, right? I don't know if Papa Sam is going to like that. I don't know. But however, we want to get the videos, guys. We want to be able to post them and give us that fan interaction. If one of our guys score a touchdown, of course we want that footage, but then turn the camera to the crowd, show excitement. Let us know, just almost like putting us in the moment. We will definitely give you a shout out as you email, and we'll obviously, make sure you get all the information. But it is podcast at protection-united.com. Send those in. Tell us the athlete's name. Also give us your Instagram or your Twitter handle so we can give a shout out to you for grabbing this video footage for us.
Absolutely. And I know my man, Computer Jesus, behind the board here, you start playing a handful of those clips that have been sent in to us through family members, and also huge shout outs to Addie Farrell for helping set up and secure a good amount of these clips and a lot of these photos, because we're going to react to a lot of these. We're going to get an opportunity to see firsthand what these guys have been able to produce and what they've been able to make of themselves coming into this upcoming season. So we're good to go for these first couple of clips here.
We go.
As we get Ashton Ansley of the Texas A&M Kingsville, the Hallelinas.
Yes, the Hallelinas.
Mean looking.
Yeah, so we got Ashton at the bottom of the screen, right? Little quick. I don't know if that's a speed out, probably more like a 10 out.
But that was dang near
there. He
NFL
is.
catch.
A little one-on-one action there. Got good separation, right? Look at that, showing the hands here. Look at that, strong hands. Hey, look at the frame on that young man. I mean, like you're talking about Ashton Ansley that is going, and look at that, Jake. I mean, just squeezing the football, concentration. He's definitely a young man that we're expecting big things from for many years to come.
And especially out of that first clip too, where you see the footwork, those intangible parts of the technique that really start to come into play. And he's already got that in place.
Exactly. Yeah. And as you can see, he's taking the weight room seriously, gotten stronger upper body. I love the fact that he extended his arms. A lot of times guys get those alligator arms, right? And they just, got to let the ball come here, or they got to wait for the ball to get to their body. Extended his arms, caught it with his hands. And like I said, great coverage by that DB, by the way. But once again, Ashton, doing what he does best, which is catch the damn ball.
Yes,
right?
For sure. Like any good receiver should. And that's Ashton Ansley, one of our great wide receivers. And now we transition.
Hey, my dog. Hey, there's my flex on my squad, man. Hey, go back to computers. I don't know if you can go back. You might have to let it run. I want to go back to that one. Look at that. Oh, look at that.
Extension.
Oh, look at DeBron Hampton. Look at that. DeBron said it. I'll see your walk on, and then I'll double down to where you're going to give me a scholarship by making catches like that. I mean, he has been tearing it up down there. Love watching on Twitter the other day, him and DJ playing little pass and catch, right, in practice. But, DeBron has been turning heads left and right. The coaches have come out, whether it's publicly, right, we don't want to give away sources, but even internal conversations in meetings saying DeBron Hampton is really impressing and making it hard, right, on Coach Gonzalez, the wide receiver coach at Florida, to not get him on the football field, right? And he's a guy that, Jake, we had the pleasure of seeing a lot of DeBron Hampton,
that
right?
We did.
Amazing junior year, crazy senior year, here locally, but him and DJ still connecting, right? And cannot wait to watch 3-5 do his thing on the football field this coming up season.
And it is reassuring, too, to hear the conversations that even Coach Billy Napier has had on the mic of saying DeBron Hampton is in the mix. He's one of the guys that we've definitely had to reconsider what his role was from last year into what this upcoming year is going to be for a guy like him. So that's really cool to hear him making those strides. And now even your head coach, who's got so much on his plate, is saying, this might be one of our guys.
Yeah, no, exactly.
That's awesome, man.
The
That's
head man says something. Right?
You know you're doing something
You're
right.
doing something right, for sure.
But that was DeBron Hampton. And Jay, who are we looking at?
I think we're looking at
Who are we looking at, Jay?
number 11. Oh, there he is. Oh, there's me with him. Right? Yeah. No, got to go up to Ruston again this past weekend. But here's one of the things that we've seen time and time again. From 11. Just great dive and catch, hit the first down symbol, letting the refs know. But yeah, no, Jalen Mickens, he's having fun up there, right? Just a young man that just works hard, as my favorite receiver, bias.
No, for sure.
But definitely a kid that, at least from what everyone tells me, right, is deserving of what he's getting. And I love the fact that Coach Cumbie, Coach Franklin, offensive coordinator there at Louisiana Tech, believe in him, right? As true freshmen come in during this time of the year, there's tough conversations that have to be had. You have to talk to the guys that are going to be on scout team. And you got to talk to another set of guys that are not going to make the travel squad, right? Only going to dress out at home games. Jalen's been blessed to avoid those conversations. Those meetings have been called and Jalen's name was not called, right? So now he knows, okay, he's going to be a part of that 2 deep, depth chart, which means that either A, he'll end up starting, or B, he'll be a backup and will be a starter on special teams with an opportunity, right, to get reps during the games, at that slot receiver. Battling with a junior now for that spot. But hey, if you're a true freshman and you got an opportunity there, you're playing with house money, and definitely excited to see how things panned out for him.
And he and I talked to a lot about what this offseason has looked like for him, of what workouts he's been doing and the noticeable uptick, both in the amount that he's been doing and also the load that he's been carrying since he made the jump from Willis now to Louisiana Tech. Of it's weighed on him, but at the same time, he takes that in stride. Yeah. And I think that's the best mindset that he could possibly have right now coming into the season, of being the underdog and then using that as a chip on your shoulder, not as a cone of shame, if you will. Trying to take that in stride and then using that as I am going to prove to everybody here that I am deserving of this spot. And he seems to have taken that completely in stride by doing the absolute most that he can, both behind the scenes and, as you saw there with that catch too, doing it on the field, because that was incredible concentration, body control to bring that one in.
Yeah. Well, look, I told him I bought a lot of merch, so you better
you better make this worth it.
Yeah, I bought a lot of Louisiana Tech gear with his name on it. But yeah, no, definitely gonna be exciting, and look forward to watching him compete, at that next level, and kind of see how he holds his own against some 22, 23, in some cases 25-year-olds.
Especially too when you talk about you're gonna be making that trip out to LSU for Death Valley. That's going to be interesting to see.
It'll be interesting.
You might
September 6th.
You might get to see your boy out there on the field in Death Valley.
Yeah, that would be fun.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. But that is Jalen Mickens. Now we transition to Texas State's Tice Williams. Look at him getting some reps in. Looking nice, too, for the cameras. Good photo shoots here. Tice was one of the guys that I was really excited to see what he's capable of heading into this season. Of we knew what he did at Conroe and how capable he was at the high school level, right? Of a lockdown threat, a sort of that field general mentality from the safety position, which is, that or your linebacker is really where the field general is on the defensive side, right? Mm-hmm. But he embodied that in the truest way possible, and he had blistering speed to go along with it. This dude ran track on top of football, which you only really see in a handful of DBs and especially your wide receivers. So to see a safety that can come in and just take a dude's lights out on a hit like that, I think is a very unique skill set. And I think Texas State is definitely looking for some good productivity out of Tice in this upcoming year.
Exactly, Jake. Tice had an opportunity, coming into true freshman last year, played sparingly, right? But once again, it's not easy to get on the field as a true freshman, especially for a school that is now heading to the Pac-12, right?
Yep.
Now we're about to have the Power 5 come back, no more Power 4. And now he's in the mix, right? He's had the opportunity to actually get on the field, competing for a starting spot. But word has it, even if he doesn't start, Tyce Williams will be playing in every game. And like you said, I mean, along with the speed, I mean, he has a great frame to play the safety position, long arms, and I mean, he's a ball hawk.
Yes.
Out there, right? Tyce has always been a guy that knows how to attack the football. And when he gets it, on the pick, most likely it's going to go to the house. But he's great against the run support as well. And like you mentioned, I mean, the camera loves Tyce. Great looking kid. He's a guy that, like you said, is great for the photos, right?
Mm-hmm.
Future's bright for Tyce Williams at Texas State. And, I just can't wait, right, to watch him do his thing. I mean, obviously he's filling out his pads, looking great, there once again. I don't know about that backdrop. Is that clouds? Is that just like a white screen?
That's just the sky.
That's just the sky.
That's just the beautiful San Marcos sky.
You see yeah. Okay. That's a good way of ending Tyce's segment. Yeah. I like that.
Hey, but he's got a lot to look forward to with this upcoming season.
28 will be a guy that will be making headways in that secondary for the Bobcats.
Oh yeah, for sure. And it's one that I'm excited to go out there, might have an opportunity to go out there and see him personally play against UTSA. Very much looking forward to that. And does that have we got a couple more here.
Yeah,
and that's him. Yes, it is Tucker Parks.
There he is, baby. TP.
We're excited to see him get some reps in, and where he's one of our guys that's had a very interesting journey to get to where he is now at Western Kentucky. And look at that, too. Engagement with the fans.
Yeah.
Getting out there and signing some autographs. So I think a year spent with Western Kentucky last year has definitely benefited him in terms of seeing what it takes to be that Division I quarterback, where you may not think it, but Western Kentucky does have a pretty large pedigree of quality quarterback play. The all-time leading passer in Division I college football history is from Western Kentucky. So these guys know how to play ball out there at the Hilltoppers. And so to have Tucker really fit into that system, gain some pretty solid insight as to what he needs to do in terms of carrying himself both on and off the field, I think benefits him in the long run as to what he might be capable of for WKU.
Yeah, Jake. And it's just unfortunate that he's in such a tough position. The quarterback position is such a sensitive spot because there only can be one. It can only be one. The two quarterback system does not work on any level. We talked about that a little bit on our very first episode on our breakdown when we went over our internal fantasy drafts. But, Tucker is in a position where the other quarterback that they've chosen to roll with, and now he's just competing, right, to, run with the 2s and the 3s. But we know that he has the talent. Tucker Parks is a dude. He's a guy that we know that can play on that level when given the opportunity. But he's a young man that we wanted to invest in. We wanted to represent because he's just a great kid, right? He understands the game of football, plays it at a very high level. And everybody here, right, unlike maybe some other agencies, we're not going to turn anyone down that wants to be with us as long as they meet the certain criteria of keeping their grades up, right? 3.0 or higher, just really high character, right? Takes care of business on the field, but also off the field in the classroom. Doesn't do anything stupid, putting dumb things on social media. Those kind of things, right? We don't mind working with you and trying to help you, right? And in this situation, Tucker is a prime example of that. But hey, a kid that wants to play on the field, but yet still have a great attitude. Like, he didn't even have to turn in those pictures, right? He didn't have to respond to you when you're wanting to get, questionnaires filled out and interviews. He does things the right way, even when things are not going the way that he would like it to.
And I think that speaks volume to the people that have been brought on as members of the Protect You crew, is that we could easily just accept any offer that comes across our table or any email that comes to us, but it has to be the right athlete. It has to be the right mentality. I feel like is a big thing of that too, of guys like Tucker Parks, guys like a Lucas Shearhorn, right, where the opportunity may not be there for them right out the gates, but they believe in themselves and they believe in what Protection United can do for them in terms of putting them in the right opportunity and in the right situation where they can really start to blossom as a player.
Exactly, Jake. And, those are the young men that, really speak of what Protection U or Protect You is really about, right? Is meeting those criteria, not just, oh, this kid's a transaction play for us, or we can go make a lot of money off of this athlete, so let's sign him and let's forget about all the other things, right? If it's not a perfect fit, it's not really worth us moving forward. And it's nothing against anyone. I'm not saying people can't change either, right?
No, for sure.
If we tell somebody, hey, your GPA is too low and we need you to get your grades up, or if we've gotten a bad report from, a college coach that we built the relationship with, and we want to give you an opportunity to fix that, it can be changed, right? We're not saying that once you get denied the first time, then you can never come back again. We'll continue to monitor, we'll continue to watch you, but once you get there, you're a part of the crew, and we want you to stay a part of the crew. And that's another thing here, that we don't want a revolving door, right, of people in and out, in and out. Like, nobody wants that. All the businesses that I've built, before Protection United, that was one thing that I took pride in, was the attrition, right? You don't want to have to hire 10 employees because you lose 8 every year, right? You want to be able to retain, and we want that here for our athletes. If we bring you on, then the goal is to keep you on and to make sure that we continue this journey together, not just go down the street to the next bus stop and then you go about your merry way, right?
So. Yes. And with that tangent, we got one more athlete to highlight here. It is the big man out of Willis, Ramel Stevens.
Look at him.
Look at just the size difference in that angle, too. Ramel was always one guy.
Look at his feet. He's like a size 15, 17 cleat. Where do you find? Look at this. Oh, wow. Yeah.
That's just a tower of a human being.
It is.
If he catches the ball and he starts barreling his way towards you, it's like, I'm going to go low. If I catch you, I catch you. If not, just forget it.
Right.
But Ramel was always a guy that I was high on when he was at Willis. He had such great measurables. And even though that wide receiver room was incredibly competitive, right, of guys like Jalen, Jermaine Bishop Jr., and Ramel all competing for those reps, he stood out, I feel like, because of his pure physicality of, okay, cool, if you're going to double team any of those either two, you're going to leave the guy who's well over 6 foot, I would say, 6'5"?
Yeah.
At the very least?
Yeah.
You're going to leave that guy alone on an island?
Yeah.
No, you cannot be doing that. And I think that's what the Arkansas State staff are starting to really embody, as we see in those photos, of just how valuable a guy with that sheer size and those sheer measurables can be to a program.
Yeah, look, you can go train. You know how you see these people post, I'm going to go train, no days off, # no days off.
Yes.
You can't train height. I don't care.
No.
You can train every day, twice on Sunday. You're not going to make yourself be 6'5", 6'6", right? Ramel is a mixed match nightmare. I want to say that what he did against a team here and against a kid that is currently at University of Oregon, right? So I'm protecting school names and athlete names, but we got to see a lot of that one-on-one, actually, to your point of, we're going to stack this way. Obviously, another school where they basically said, we're going to take away Jermaine Bishop and Jalen Mickens to the best of our ability and try to make one of the other guys beat us. Ramel consistently won those one-on-one battles. And I know Coach Lett, wide receiver coach at Arkansas State, is so excited to get Ramel there. He's happy that he is there. He's been, I would say, drooling at the mouth to get Ramel in that wide receiver room. And he has a chance to play as a true freshman. And here's the other thing too, Jake. The young man didn't even graduate early.
Nope.
Right? Typically that can hurt. We saw 18 on his chest plate. I'm telling you, Jake, you don't get a good number.
Yeah.
If you're not coming in with high expectations, I'm telling you, it doesn't matter what school you're at, what level. If you get a wide receiver number, let's call it that, right?
Yes.
You're a dude. And they got expectations for Romel, and I cannot wait to watch him compete this year in Jonesboro.
Yes, we're very excited to see what he has to offer, as well as the rest of the Protect You crew is capable of going into this 2025 season. Those are just a handful of what the Protect You crew is completely made up of. But again, if you would like to get involved, be a part of the From the Stand segment, be sure to take those clips, take those photos behind the scenes, the tailgates. We love to see the full environment of what makes college sports so special.
Yeah.
Both from college football and college volleyball, one of my favorite sports to watch because, again, volleyball is just such a fun sport to watch for me. But send us in those clips. Send us in those pictures at podcast@protection-united.com. If you would like to get a spot up here on the Protect You podcast, shout outs will, of course, follow each and every time. But Jay, that's going to do it.
Yeah, well, I was going to just add, that we even would love to watch the players walk in to the stadium. If y'all can get shots of those, that would be great. And as we lead up to the season, I'm hoping that we'll have more even next Tuesday when we're here live every Tuesday at noon Central Standard Time, 1 p.m. Eastern. Showing live on Facebook as well as YouTube, as well as X, formerly known as Twitter. But I cannot wait to show, because speaking of volleyball, I'm sure that Sam and Miss Deanna will be sending us some clips of Samara, because she is tearing it up there as well. And I can't wait to talk more about her. Got a feeling that it'll be a Samara Coleman sighting on here next week as well.
Yeah, we're very excited to see what those strides are going to be. We're very excited to see you, the very faithful fans that have been tuning in since the very beginning, coming back day in and day out. It really does mean the most. Be sure to follow us on social media platforms and our new Protection United YouTube channel. It's been up since week 1, but now we're finally able to live stream on there. That is youtube.com/@ProtectionUnited, capital P, capital U. Just go get out there, show some support. It truly does mean the most. We do appreciate it all very much. And Jay, that's all I got, man. For the beautiful people at home, I think we're gonna wrap this one up.
Yeah, no, appreciate you guys for watching and being a part of our journey here, right,
Yes.
with this podcast. And we look forward to this upcoming season and many more things to come.
Yes, and as things get underway, there'll be a lot more to talk about with both the Protect You crew and the faithful fans at home. But that is going to do it for episode 3 of the Protect You podcast. It truly does mean the most. Thank you all so much for tuning in live, and we'll catch you all on the next one. See you around.